Good morning. Please stand if you'd like and join me, Lady of the Seasons, laughter number 51. Lady of the Seasons, laughter in the summer warmth be near, when the winter follows after. Teach our spirits not to fear. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning year. Sister of the evening starlight, in the falling shadow stay. Among us till the far light of tomorrow's dawning ray. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning day. Mother of the generations, in whose love all life is worth, everlasting celebrations bring our labors safe to birth. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning earth. Goddess of all time's progression, stand with us when we engage, hands and hearts to end oppression, writing history's fairer page. Hold us in your steady mercy, Lady of the turning age.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome all to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where our mission is to join together to create a nourishing, liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world. Or, as we say in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. Welcome, one and all. It's great to have all of you with us today, those of you who are here in the sanctuary with us, as well as those who are live streaming with us, as well as those who are Zooming with us. So we're going to get to you in just a couple of minutes. But again, welcome to all, whether you're a regular attendee, maybe you're joining us for the first time. All that you are is welcome here this morning. Today is the kickoff of our annual community auction, which is a time where folks have donated various things, events, hobbies, those sort of things to bid on as a church fundraiser and fundraiser. And if you are here in the sanctuary today, you'll see the items posted on the back wall. Those who are live streaming or Zooming, you can check out our website to bid on those. Some of them, I think, can be done virtually as well as in person. So I'm going to, for example, be doing some one-on-one trainings on some AI tools, and I'd be happy to share a screen and teach that over or online, I should say, as well. So please do check those out and bid generously, and we would appreciate it. And Bill, either this is a Pentecostal service and you're raising your hands, or you have a question.
Sign your name to the piece of paper. How's that work? You sign your name to the paper.
Is it all done online? So we just have the items back there. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Okay, so that's a difference. I didn't know, Bill, but Lynn answered the question. So go ahead and look at the items here and jot down a note, take a photograph on your phone, whatever you want, and go on to uuspokane.org to make your bid. Okay, and for those who are interested, who happen to be here this morning and are obviously close enough to do so, we're having a harvest potluck after our second service, so you'd be welcome to come back to that and enjoy a gathering here on the premises. For those who are streaming and at least far enough away and Zooming far enough away, we're sorry you wouldn't be able to attend that, but I hope you'll think of us as you're eating and enjoying your own meal this afternoon. All right, if I can, I'd love to say hi to our folks who are Zooming with us. Shelley will bring them up for us on our big screen. There we are. And who is our host today? See if we can get their microphones working, or their audio, I should say.
Oh, there we go.
There we go, just needs to bring it up a little. All right, who's our host?
It's myself, Terry,
Hi, Terry.
and it's nice to see everyone. We were just about to panic. We didn't get a picture or a sound from Spokane till just now, so just in time.
Oh my gosh, wow, well, yeah, just in time indeed. Well, it's I saw you up there when I came in, and I was here at least 5 minutes before the service started.
We couldn't see you or hear you, but anyways, good morning, and I'm glad we got it working now. It's working good, so thanks Shelley for that.
Yes, thank you, Shelley, and I do apologize for the some of the technical bugs we have from time to time with our Zoom and with our streaming service. Unfortunately, it's going to happen, but I hope we can minimize it as much as possible. But anyway, it's great always to have all of you with us, and thanks so much for being here. Very good. Okay. All right. Well, we should probably take a couple of minutes, as is also our custom at the start of our service, to greet one another. So there's just a few people here inside our building this morning, so you have to get a little exercise and walk around to mingle. But please do. I'll give you a few extra seconds to get there.
Are we on Zoom now?
Yeah.
We're on Zoom, okay.
Good. Well, for anybody, we were talking about it earlier, but for anybody who's just joining us, the NAUA service was quite outstanding yesterday, and we'll be out on Zoom on the NAU YouTube and linked from the website in a couple of days. So I heard that the recording was captured, and it was quite enlightening, actually. It was a great talk.
So do a lot of people watch that on the YouTube channel later? I was disappointed at the attendance yesterday because it was a wonderful service. I was wondering, do most people just watch it later at a more convenient time for them?
Well, I think we average around 100 views on the recordings. So it varies a bit, but certainly they're there, and
Okay, more opportunity to visit during our social period following the service, but we will move forward now by lighting our chalice. The chalice is the symbol of our faith, the symbol of our liberal religion, of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
The opening reflection today comes from Joan Boroshenko's book, Pocket Full of Prayers, Miracles, Meditations, and Affirmations to Nourish Your Spirit Every Day of the Year. In spiritual maturity, we become able to hold the paradox of both and, rather than being bound by the rigidity of either or. While the intellect can at times become a trap, it is also a gift. Although meditation and prayer can play an important part in leading us to the wisdom of the heart, sometimes the intellect is more skillful means of awakening. When the Dalai Lama was asked what the main method of fostering inner awareness was, he replied, "Introspection and reasoning is more efficient for this purpose than meditation and prayer."
Please stand and join me for Spirit of Life, number 123. We'll sing through it twice. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you. That's such a beautiful song. I was just thinking of it in light of my sermon today, and what I really appreciate about it, for the first time, really noticed it, is it's the stirrings of compassion that should give shape to justice. It begins with the stirrings of compassion. Yeah, that's so important right now, given all that's going on in the world. There are so many trying to give shape to justice without having been stirred by compassion to do so. So they're not going to give shape to justice. And so, of course, we begin our candles of care today for those experiencing the worst ramifications of that ill attempt at creating a just world. The people of Ukraine and that part of the world that are being devastated by the war there, and now the people of both Israel and Gaza and Palestinians and other parts of that region of the world that are being impacted by the terrible violence there. We also kindle a candle for our church member Jacob Johns, who continues to recover from another extreme act of intolerance, leading to him being shot while at a demonstration. And I do want to kindle a candle of celebration today, with permission, on behalf of church member Lynn Janician, who had a big birthday on Thursday. Now, you're not going to believe when I tell you what birthday it was. No, it wasn't her 40th birthday. No, it wasn't even her 50th birthday. Believe it or not, it was her 60th birthday. I don't believe it. But nevertheless, congratulations. Happy birthday. Thanks for all you do to our community, for our community. We could sing happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lynn. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Always any chance.
I had to step away from the microphone. I can never sing the happy birthday song on key, so I just...
That's the whole point of the happy birthday song.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not on key for anybody?
Correct.
Ah, okay. Well, it still sounded good to me. Okay, well, we are going to take a moment of silence, perhaps, on behalf of others we might be thinking of this morning, and as always, you're welcome to name them aloud at this time if you'd like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. And before we take up while we're taking up our offering, I'm going to ask Alan if you would mind closing the shield to the kitchen and the door. I'm hearing the vibration, I think, of the refrigerator, unless it's a bad ballast going out or something, but thank you, Alan, so much. And yes, we now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which helps sustain this community and our mission to the larger world.
Tragic soul. Redeem my living soul.
I know. This is Bun Bun, Olivia, and he came out of hiding to tell you how good that was. Thank you for sharing with us.
So honored.
Well, Bun Bun is back. Hello, Bun Bun. It's good to see you. I'm glad you came on a day when there was such good music during our offertory. The last time we saw you, I think it was summer break, and by now you must be back at school, right? Okay, how's it going? That's the kind of body language that tells me it's maybe not going so well. Do you want to share what's happening? Oh. Okay. Bun Bun tells me that he's at a brand new school this year because the leaders of his forest made some changes about where all the little animals go to school, and Bun Bun is at the new school. Are any of the friends from your old school at your new school? No, but surely you've made some new friends in the past few weeks. Oh, I'm sorry you feel like you have no friends, Bun Bun. That must feel pretty lonely. I've felt that way before, and it really isn't much fun. What do you think Bun Bun can do to make some new friends at his school? So normally I'd be asking the children, but since there are no children below me, suggestions from all of you, what do you think he could do?
Ask to play a game.
Well, ask to play a game.
Offer to play a game.
Offer to play a game.
Welcome them.
Welcome them, like with his words. Absolutely.
Share his carrots.
Share his carrots. That's a little bit like what we're doing today after church, Bun Bun. We're having a harvest party. There's so many ways to approach someone new and maybe start a new friendship that will last forever. I know you'll be able to make some new friends at school this year at school. This past summer, didn't you make some friends at the playground? Okay, that's good. And do you still see them? Yeah, he says he sees them at the park every day on his way home from school. So there you go. You've got some old friends to keep you company at the park while you work on making new friends at school. So the next time you feel like you have no friends, think about the friendships you formed at the park and take the advice of the wise people in this room. I'm excited to see you soon and learn about some of the new friendships you formed at school. Thanks to everyone's advice here. We'll see you later, Bun Bun.
I was so into that story. I was enjoying it. Thank you. Now is the time in our service to move into contemplation and silence. Get comfortable. Relax into your breathing and go into this still place within. Consider these words adapted by the psychiatrist Piero Ferrucci from the Ancient Methods of Self-Inquiry. I have a body, but I am not my body. I have a feelings, but I am not my feelings. I have desires, but I am not my desires. I have a mind, but I am not my mind. Who is it then who has been watching your sensations and feelings and desires and thoughts? Is it your own higher self? Now meditate on this self that is pure consciousness.
When you go from a winner back to a beginner, it's hard when you've already been crowned. Life is quite a battle, so is staying in the saddle, but the hardest lesson's only the ground. Whether hunting or jumping, every horse is good for something. You don't throw whole life away. I don't care about your stable if you wanna and you're able and you love me at the end of the day. When you got your heels down, head up, shoulders back, eyes up, you wonder how the lady can smile. When you put your heart where you're headed, you're always gonna get it, 'cause a good horse makes a short mile. Well, I reckon a colonel giving orders is normal, but you gotta live the rebirth inside. To earn my respect, you encourage, don't correct, and never ever underestimate my pride. To put me to pasture would be a disaster, but I never really needed a throne. Would drop the facades and we'll beat all the odds, and wham bam come roaring home. When you put your heels down, head up, shoulders back, eyes up, you wonder how the lady can smile. If you put your heart where you're headed, you're always gonna get it, 'cause a good horse makes a short mile. When you put your heels down, head up, shoulders back, eyes up, you wonder how the lady can smile. If you put your heart where you're headed, you're always gonna get it, 'cause a good horse makes a short mile.
Olivia. It's amazing.
You're amazing.
I haven't even said anything yet.
I get to be here.
Well, I mean, we are so glad you are. Thank you. Were those both original pieces? I thought that's what I understood. Over 100. Oh, so you're just getting started.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm improving.
Well, thank you. You're very funny too, so I appreciate that. Keep me on my feet. Well, I will try to follow that. This seems to be my pattern anymore. I hear Bun Bun. Hang on just a second. Oh. Bun Bun says he left his school notes up here. I should put him down with Bun Buns in case he needs them later. Thank you, Bun Bun. Okay, well, this probably won't be as fun, but I hope it's as informative at least. I'll begin with kind of a strange question. Have you ever asked yourself, where is morality? Probably not, right? Because it's an awkwardly phrased question. We might ask ourselves, what is morality? But not where, because it's a concept, not a substance that we can point to or put our hands on. Yet when we speak of morality, we often speak as if it's real and that we know exactly what it is. As a student of philosophy, I continue to ponder a lot about morality and ethics and have come to believe that it doesn't exist. This doesn't mean that there aren't cultural, social, and individual moral values and opinions, some of which are better than others, or that we should not behave morally toward other people, animals, and our planet. What I mean is that there is no universal guide hovering about somewhere in the ether by which to measure the difference of between right and wrong. There's no religion, holy book, philosophical belief, legislation, or social conventions that can assure that our behavior is right by any universal standard. Right, so when we think about right and wrong, we often imagine there's some or believe there's some measuring device somewhere in the background that we compare it to. That device doesn't exist. Unlike the physical laws that we have reason at least to believe work everywhere in the universe, there is no universal standard for determining the difference between right and wrong. Yet some of us, a lot of us, maybe some of us here, think there is such a universal standard and delight in using it to tell others what they should and shouldn't do. And often what they should or shouldn't believe, or should or shouldn't say, or even should or shouldn't feel. The high priest, the papal authority, the medieval belief in the divine right of kings are a few extreme examples of the authoritarian righteousness such thinking can lead to. But there are also ordinary people in our everyday lives who are so sure of their moral opinion that they assume they have the right to tell others what to do, and who dislike or even demonize those persons or groups that won't listen. Listening in these cases is a euphemism, meaning they won't obey. Nobody likes to say, I told them to do this and they won't obey. We say they won't listen. Right? What do parents say? Scold their children. You better listen to me. Not, you better obey me. So this sense of moral authority that justifies telling others what to do and not to do with the expectation that they ought to obey can be grounded in one's personal religious beliefs, values that are instilled by one's parents or passed down through one's culture or other social laws, mores, and expectations. But most essentially, this moral sense is rooted lazily in one's feelings. One has an emotional response to an environmental situation in which others are involved, causing one to feel mildly or seriously threatened, and then decides on the spot what will make that individual feel safe. And whatever that thing is what the person will consider is the moral thing for others to do. This opinion is based on a relatively new field of psychology called evolutionary psychology. It's a branch of psychology that tries to explain human psychology and behavior based on how certain kinds of thinking and behavior has helped our species survive and reproduce. How does how we think or feel about things benefit our longevity as a species? One example is evolutionary threat assessment systems theory, ETAS for short, considers how the emotion of fear helped and helps our species survive. Hence, cognitive therapist Paul Gilbert says, the most important question faced every day by all animals, including humans, is whether or not their immediate environment is dangerous. It's the first thing we do in any new situation, any new environment. Am I safe? And this is not usually a conscious thought, but it's an instinctive sense or experience. It presents itself initially, for example, as a feeling of awkwardness or shyness around people we don't know. It's just as Olivia is very reserved today, right? So it's why we must, as we often say, warm up. We have to warm up to others, or warm up to a new idea, or warm up to a new situation. Such fear makes us cautious and conservative, and venturing too far or too quickly into unknown territory could be dangerous. So this is a pretty good survival instinct, at least it has been. When you're living in a world where there's tigers and snakes hiding in the brush and maybe some other tribes that might want to take what we have. So if we apply this instinct to the question of morality, how does the concept of morality help our species survive and thrive? We can easily conclude that it codifies safe behaviors that have proven to protect us from danger and to protect us from others putting us in danger. Right? Passing on rules helps make us feel more secure. Instructing our kids to look both ways before crossing the street is a rule that helps keep them safe. Thou shalt not kill is a rule that helps keep us safe and others safe from us as individuals in a society. And thou shalt not steal helps keep the stuff we need safe. So we can see how developing a sense of morality that makes human behavior predictable has aided in our evolutionary success. Our species also has a large brain with more folds and larger frontal cortex than any other animal. And this has given us great advantage and made us the most dominant species on Earth. However, this advantage requires that our species must continue gestating outside of the womb in order to fit through the birth canal. Otherwise, our brains would have to remain small. As biologist Stephen Jay Gould once said, "It is clear that the human baby is still an embryo. Our bones have not fully hardened, our skulls have not fully closed, and unlike other apes, our brains are only a quarter of their eventual size and can continue developing throughout our entire lives. Our big brain advantage was an evolutionary trade for a weaker and more vulnerable body than other apes have. We have an ape body. That's why we're classified as ape, defined by our brachiated shoulders or our broken shoulders. Arms at our sides instead of in front of us like a cat or a monkey. So this means that we don't have powerful apish strength. Well, we've all often probably heard a chimpanzee is 3 times stronger than a human being and half our size. We don't have powerful jaws or protruding teeth to protect ourselves. We don't have the arm strength, even though we are apes, to easily climb trees for protection, let alone to toss ourselves from limb to limb without likely falling to our deaths. In fact, we don't even develop the hair that apes have to keep themselves warm. We have to drape ourselves with clothing. So other apes are born with immediate strength to cling to their mothers, and within 2 months are moving about and playing on their own. Human infants are born with limbs that will remain almost useless for months, and they won't learn to walk for nearly a year or more, and even afterward will remain incredibly dependent upon the protection of caregivers for years to come. From an evolutionary perspective, we must wonder how such a weak and vulnerable species could ever have survived, let alone become so dominant. How could a mother who herself is in danger of predation from other species spend so much of her own time and energy and years caring for a child, and many times more than one at the same time? Why would a father routinely put himself at risk of predation to go out into the world to find food and resources to bring back to his mate and offspring? The answer is that evolution isn't about survival of the individual. It's about survival of the species. It's not about the individual organism, but about the information inside the individual that needs to get passed on through the ages. Evolution's very uncaring that way. So we have evolved feelings that motivate us to care for others, particularly our offspring, to provide and protect them even at our own expense. But our need for the protection, care, and cooperation of others continues throughout our entire lives. Today, most everything we have, our food, clothing, shelter, safety, roads, technology, and on, depend upon others who live all over the world. Hence, this emotional bond is often most powerfully felt among those who are related to us, but it is also felt for others, including to varying degrees people we don't even know. Today, a lot of us are emotionally concerned about all the people in the world being impacted by the terrible wars and violence happening right now. Right? We have an emotional response to what's happening to people we'll never know, we'll never see, we'll never meet. All of this is to say that our survival as a species depends upon our innate need to care for others and to be cared for by others. Our survival as a species depends on us caring for and being cared for by others. Despite our myth of the rugged individual. And this is where our sense of morality comes in. At least according to evolutionary psychologist Robert Wright, in his book, The Moral Animal, referring to us, Wright says, the closest thing to a generic Darwinian view of how moral codes arise is this. People tend to pass the sorts of moral judgments that help move their genes into the next generation. That's what our morality is about, passing on our genes. You selfish genes. Let me have free will. So in short, we are social animals because we need to depend upon others for our survival. And because our genes need us to survive, they have evolved to program us to treat each other with care. And it is such care that is the basis of our morality, that which I often refer to as the humanistic ethic. Care for others is the basis of our genetic instinct to care for one another, the humanistic ethic. Social psychologist Erich Fromm, who also describes our species as a social animal, says that love is our greatest human power. But he doesn't define love as a sentiment. The most fundamental kind of love, he says, which underlies all types of love, is brotherly love. By this, I mean the sense of responsibility, care, respect, knowledge of any other human being, the wish to further their life. Going on to explain that brotherly love is love for all human beings, characterized by its very lack of exclusiveness. Fromm also ingeniously, in my opinion, solves the problem of morality. The problem of morality meaning its lack of a universal standard. How can we know what's right if there's no such thing as a universal standard? How can we select the right thing to live by? He solves this by saying that we only have to consider it from our human perspective. That's what we are. We're human beings. So let's limit ourselves to our human perspective. And this isn't to say that it's anthropocentric, because being a fully developed human being means having compassion and empathy for all creatures. That's part of fully unfolding. Achieving our full potential, that is. What it means rather is that humans need each other and thus must take responsibility and care for others, respect them, and seek to understand them. This is why in Man for Himself, an inquiry into the psychology of ethics, Fromm says materially, ethics is based on the principle that what is good for humanity, and evil is what is detrimental to humanity. Right? Destroying our environment is detrimental to humanity. So we have to care for the environment. Killing off other creatures indiscriminately is detrimental to our emotional wholeness. So we have to care for other creatures. And certainly for one another. And this is why he most profoundly says the sole criterion of ethical value is being human welfare. And that the unfolding and growth of every person is the aim of all social and political activities. Right? To have a moral society, everything that society does should be about general human welfare and providing the circumstances for individuals to fully unfold, fully become themselves. So to summarize so far, I've made 3 main points. Firstly, morality has no independent existence or universal standard. Secondly, as social animals that depend upon each other, our innate sense of what is good is rooted in our need to care for and be cared for by one another, which is the basis of what we mean by morality. If we do something uncaring, it's immoral. If we do something caring, it's moral. It's why when we harm others, we feel ashamed, or should feel ashamed. And it's why when we are harmed by others, we feel moral outrage, or see others harmed by others, we feel moral outrage. Thirdly, our humanist morality, our humanistic ethic, is expressed most fully as responsibility, care, respect. By the word respect means giving someone a second look. Right? We don't judge them by their identities. We don't judge them by their genetic composition, accidents of birth. We give them a second look. We seek to know them, the knowledge of others, to understand them, which must be the point and goal of our social and political activities. If only this were so. There are again 2 brutal wars going on in the world in which this humanistic standard is not being followed. Again. Here in the U.S., we've become so divided that now even our political leaders in the same party can no longer get along. By the way, this happened early amongst the Democrats in Joe Biden's presidency too, right? So it's nothing new. Not even long enough, of course, to elect a House Speaker. By the moral standard relative to us humans, which requires us to care for all people, to care for, meaning respecting them, giving them a second look, trying to understand them, we're falling short. Why? Why do we too often reserve responsibility and care for those closest to us, our own families, our own groups, our own people, but not everyone else? Or better put, why can't we see that all people are like us, given that we are all human beings? Why do we not recognize that we are all part of one family? This stems firstly from the principle of kin selection, in which our instinct is to care mostly for those most genetically similar to ourselves. There's those selfish genes again at work. Especially our offspring, followed by our own siblings, then our cousins, then our friends, until our concentric circle of relationships are so distant they become meaningless. But the other reason is because our simplest understanding of morality is expressed as fairness. One of the first moral complaints a child learns to make is saying that something isn't fair. It's not fair. And fairness at an early age means being treated the same as everyone else. I once read of a child whose older brother, who had already finished his dinner and dessert, got an extra piece of chocolate cake. The younger brother, who had not yet even finished dinner, began insisting that he too should get 2 pieces of cake. His mother told him that he must finish his dinner and first piece of cake before even talking about a second piece of cake. "But it isn't fair," the child cried, and before long his moral outrage turned into a full-blown tantrum. His mother, in a moment of frustration, took her butter knife and whop, sliced the cake in 2. "There," she said, "now you have 2 pieces." To her surprise, the younger boy was perfectly appeased by the act and resumed eating his meal. Now, the problem with this simplistic understanding of fairness, whether we are children who can be forgiven or adults who ought to know better, is that it miscalculates what morality means. When the younger boy's single piece of cake had been cut in two, he felt that justice had been served, but his brother still had twice as much cake. As Erich Fromm once complained, equality today means sameness rather than oneness. Today, our largely punitive response to crime is a more serious example than dessert. Somebody commits a crime and must make restitution by going to jail or prison for a certain amount of time. But how does time compensate for the damage or loss resulting from the crime? In this system, the victims of crime are not made whole, and the criminals often are only made worse. It's like having the boy's piece of cake, halving the boy's piece of cake into two, and believing that justice had been served, that fair is fair, when actually nothing meaningful has been accomplished. Another example of the problem with equating morality with fairness is that it often leads to an eye for an eye response to injustice. Right? Granted, an eye for an eye is a greater advance over a head for an eye, or a hand for a stolen loaf of bread, or a life locked into a criminal system for a single misdeed. The eye for an eye principle at least tries to make the punishment fit the crime, but because it is still a fair is fair mentality, it confuses what justice really means. As Gandhi said, an eye for an eye only makes the whole world blind. Now, when I was studying restorative justice as an alternative to punitive justice, I heard about a kid who immediately became the most bullied student at his new school. It's not Bun Bun. Bun Bun's okay. His worst tormentor of them all had previously been its most bullied student. How, we might wonder, can someone who knows what it's like to be bullied do the same thing to somebody else? But as a child with an immature understanding of morality, it makes perfect sense. The child was only making the world fair again. He had been bullied, therefore, it was only fair that he should bully someone else to bring balance back to the world. But this attitude doesn't exist merely among children. Only 2 weeks ago, I heard an Israeli official talking about Israel's response to those horrific attacks by Hamas. She said Israel's response would be swift and must be harsh, knowing that many innocent people would be killed in the process. She said there would be no warning. There would be no warning, justifying this admission by saying they didn't give us any warning. See, fair is fair. We won't give them warning because they didn't give us warning. That's fair. That's moral. That's just. Unfortunately, Hamas and the innocent people suffering the consequences are not the same they. Not any more than the new kid was the person responsible for originally bullying his new tormentor. Yet he was the one who would be punished for it, and his bully would feel that justice had been served. It's not unlike the U.S. going to war with Iraq after terrorists attacked the World Trade Center and other American targets, even though Iraq had nothing to do with those terrible events. But most Americans didn't care. We didn't care. I remember being out protesting before the Iraq war ever started, demonstrating every week, trying to prevent that preemptive strike from happening, and getting a nasty phone call, message left on the church office answering machine saying, where were you when they were bombing the World Trade Center? Of course, they didn't leave their number. In those days, you had to have that, but they didn't bomb the World Trade Center. But it didn't matter. They didn't care. We didn't care so long as somebody paid. So as long as somebody suffered. Fair is fair. Even if, like cutting one piece of cake into two, nothing has really changed. The problem wasn't really addressed. Developmental psychology has long taught us that a punitive mindset is one of the primary qualities defining the earliest stages of our moral development. Lawrence Kohlberg wrote, for example, the young child is not oriented to the bad as being selfish or being deceitful and so on. He is rather oriented to the bad as being punished. James Fowler says, Stage 1 development looks to the consequences of an act and the probable degree of punishment it will entail. And child psychologist Jean Piaget said, in the domain of retributive justice, every punishment is accepted as perfectly legitimate, as necessary, and even as constituting the essence of morality. All of this is what we're really talking about. Our retributive understanding of morality and justice is rooted in an immature mindset. The punitive, authoritarian, black and white, fair is fair understanding is the lens through which we are dealing with crime and terrorism. And these days is how many on the extreme left believe that they will bring about social justice. Fair is fair. We'll take away the wealth of the billionaires and millionaires and redistribute it. We'll take away the privilege of the dominant class, and we'll make everyone equally as miserable. Yet cutting the cake in two, rather than keeping it whole, sameness rather than oneness, mistakes justice for everyone having exactly the same, which migrates so easily into everyone looking the same and acting the same and thinking the same and speaking the same. That's what happened as a result of the Bolshevik Revolution, where they went in to create equality among workers. Everyone became equally as miserable. This is the mindset that considers Robin Hood a heroic figure because he balances the scales by robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. And children in particular love the story of Robin Hood. As you probably know, Disney's even made a classic animated movie about this bandit and his band of merry men, or in this case, merry woodland creatures. Today in the real world, there are many who believe the solution to our economic woes is leveling the playing field by redistributing wealth, taking it from the richest and giving it to the poorest. Fair is fair, after all. Again, they don't recall this already happened and resulted in some of the most inhumane governments in human history. But psychology also tells us that when we're operating and thinking like small children, we are fixated. A term that means that we are stuck at an early stage of development. It also informs us that the earmark of a mature morality, again, is care and respect for people, no matter who they are, where they are from, what they believe, or how much or how little they have. This, again, is the core of the humanistic ethic. Love for all human beings, as Fromm said, characterized by its very lack of exclusiveness. It isn't about bringing people to justice, but bringing justice to people. It's not about retribution, but reparation and restoration. It's not about punishing someone for the damage done, but fixing the damage that's been done. That's not something our punitive justice system is even involved in, fixing the damage, making the victims of crime whole. Humanistic ethic is about making sure that human welfare is the sole criterion of our ethical value, and that the unfolding and growth of every person is the aim of all our social and political activities, including our criminal justice system, especially our criminal justice system. This is how a mature person, how a mature society, how a mature world operates. And oh, what a world that would be. As a religion based upon this mature understanding of morality, the humanistic ethic, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, we must lead by example. Make sure that everything we do demonstrates love for all human beings, by demonstrating care, responsibility, respect, and understanding towards others, and working for a world in which human need is met and every individual has the opportunities necessary to achieve their full potential. Anything else is just icing on half a piece of cake. Thank you.
Please stand. Join me and Olivia with our final hymn, What Wondrous Love, number 18.
What wondrous
If our actions stem from honesty, kindness, caring, and vision, no matter what the results of our efforts, we have added something to the value of our souls and the world. Joan Boroshenko. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.
Shalom Havarim, Shalom Havarim, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Havarim, Shalom, Shalom. Man. Down a little bit. So pretty. Yeah.
Beautiful, wonderful. Oh, you guys sing so well together too. Your voices are just complimenting.
Thank you. You guys. We should charge.
I think you do. I think you do charge.
Well, voluntary.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah. That's a lot of great crossover. I love how that happens.
Lots of there are a lot of great crossover,
Yeah.
you know. And so Todd just gives me a general theme, and I have to find something that.
I like that.
It's a, you know, I like the challenge. Sometimes they're trying to find. No, but no, it makes more meaning for me to participate in the service that way.
By the way that your eyes match your earrings and your top, I'm mesmerized. I know that's completely off topic, but
That's okay. I don't think. And I don't know your name.
Joe Marie.
Joe Marie? Okay. I've
Call
met
me
you
Joe,
before.
it's easier.
I've met you before, but I just remember your name. So anyway, just beautiful. And I hope we get to hear more songs that you wrote.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. Yeah, it's just
Many great songs.
it's exhausting. But you must love it when you get to do it.
exactly.
But I can't, like, the way your voice is, just complimenting each other. It's just really,
I was thinking of changing the second song to the second service, and Natalie was like, no.
Was that which one you want to change?
I have a song that's a little more on point with the things you were sharing. It's about being, it's called Ode to the Causeless Generation.
oh,
I grew up in the 90s and aughts, and so, you know, everything was so placid, you know, in the late 80s, early 90s. It's kind of like, what do I even fight for?